I skipped a day. So this is December 21st, the shortest day of 2024. This may be the last time I'm recording the triumph of life. Thank you, Pierce Bysshe Shelley, for being my constant companion in 2024. The year when I fell in love after so many years of drought. The year when I feared and loved and suffered and did. I haven't died. But other than that, I was there with you. Every line of this tremendous poem. That last year in London or in Oxford, I chose to be my resolution for 2024. I have a much more mundane resolution for 2025. One in which my soul would be safe. Thank you, Shelley. So this is the triumph of life as experienced by me in the year 2024. And this is the solstice. The shortest day of the year. Swift as a spirit, hasting to his task of glory and of good, the sun sprang forth rejoicing in his splendor, and the mask of darkness fell from the awakened earth. The mountain, the smokeless altars of the mountain snows flamed above crimson clouds, and at the birth of light, the ocean's horizon arose, to which the birds tempered their mating lay, all flowers in field or forest, which unclosed trembling their eyelids to the kiss of day, swinging their censers in the element with orient incense lit by the new ray, burned slow and inconsumably, and sent their odorous eyes up to the smiling air, and in succession dew did continent, isle, ocean, and all the things that in them bear the form and character of mortal mold rise, as the sun their father rose to bear their portion of the toil, which he of old took as his own, but then imposed on them. And I, whose thoughts, which must remain untold, had kept as wakeful as the stars that gem that cone of night, now they are laid asleep, stretched my faint limbs beneath a hoary stem which an old chestnut flung athwart the steep of a green Apennine. Behind me fled the night, before me rose the day. The deep was at my feet, and heaven above my head, when a strange trance over my fancy grew, which was not a slumber, for the shade it spread, was so transparent that the scene came through as clear as when a veil of light is drawn over evening hills. They glimmer. And then I knew. I had felt the freshness of the dawn, bathed in the same cold dew, my brow and hair. And sat as thus upon that slope of lawn, and heard as there the birds, the fountains, and the ocean hold sweet talk in air through sweet talk through the enamored air. Sweet talk through the enamored air. And heard as there the birds, the fountains, and the ocean hold sweet talk through the enamored air. And then a vision on my brain was rolled, as in that trance of wondrous thought I lay. This was a tenor of my waking dreamy thought. I sat beside a public way, thick strewn of summer dust, and a great stream of people. There was hurrying to and fro numerous as gnats upon the evening gleam, all hasting onward, yet no one seemed to know when they came, where they would go, and why they made one of the multitude. And so was born amid the crowd, as through the sky, one of the million leaves of summer's beer. Old age and youth, manhood and infancy, mixed in one mighty torrent did appear. Some seeking the object, some fleeing the object of their fear, some fleeing the thing they feared, some seeking the object of another's fear, and others, as with steps towards the tomb, poured on the trodden worms that crawled beneath, and others, mournfully within the gloom of their own shadow, walked and called it death. And some fled from it, as it were a ghost, half fainting with the affliction of vain breath. But more, with motions which each other crossed, pursued, or shunned the shadows, the clouds threw, or birds within the noonday ether lost upon that path where flowers never grew. And weary with vain toil and faint for thirst, heard not the fountains whose melodious dew out of their mossy cells forever burst, nor felt the breeze which from the forest told of grassy paths and woodlands interspersed with overarching elms.
It's been forwarded to voicemail.
And caverns cold. And violet banks where sweet dreams brood. But they pursued the... Hello, my love, are you up?
Yeah, Do I have to talk to the people at the front desk?
No. You are all set up. You can go. You can go and say, I'm checking out. You can go and wave to them. Yes, go fast.
Oh, okay.
I love you. I
Sure.
love you. I love you. I love you. And call the Uber.
Yeah.
And as I gazed, methought that in the way the throng grew wilder as the woods of June when the south wind shakes the extinguished day. And a cold glare intenser than the noon, but icy cold, obscured with blinding light, the sun as he the stars. Like the young moon when on the sunlit limit of the night her white shell trembles amid crimson air, and whilst the sleeping tempest gathers might, doth, as the herald of its coming bear, the ghost of its dead mother, whose dim form bends in dark ether from her infant's chair, so came a chariot on the silent storm of its own rushing splendor, and a shape so sat within as one whose years deform beneath a double cape and rusky hood. Dusty hood would be better. Dusty hood. And over what seemed the head of a cloud-like crape was bent, a dun and faint ethereal gloom tempering the light. Upon the chariot's beam a Janus visage shadow did assume the guidance of that wonder-winged team. The shapes which drew it in thick lightnings were lost. I heard alone on the air's sweet stream, soft stream, the music of their ever-moving wings. All the four faces of the charioteer had banded eyes. Little profit brings speed in the van, and blindness in the rear, nor then avail the beams that quenched the sun, nor that his banded eyes could pierce the sphere of all there is, has been, or will become. So ill was the car guided, but it passed with solemn speed majestically on. The crowd gave way, and I rose aghast, or seemed to rise. So mighty was the trance, and so like clouds upon the thunder blast, a million with fierce song and maniac dance raging around. Such was a jubilee as when to greet some conqueror's advance imperial Rome poured forth. A living sea from Senate House and Forum and Theatre, and freedom bound upon the free, bound a yoke upon the free, which soon they stoop to bear. Freedom bound upon the free, a yoke which soon they stoop to bear. Shelley. Not wanting here the just similitude of a triumphal pageant for Donna or whomever. The chariot rolled, a captive multitude was driven, all those who had grown old, and like you, pierced, in power or in misery, all whose age, Mickey, had been subdued by action or by suffering, and whose hour was drained till its last sand by will or woe, so that the trunk outlived both fruit and flower. All those whose fame or infamy must grow till the great winter lay the name and shape of the shape and name of this green earth with them forever low. All but the sacred few who could not tame their spirits to the conqueror, and their spirits to the conquerors, and as soon as had touched the world with living flame, fled back like eagles to their native noon, or those who set aside the diadem of earthly thrones or gems, till the last one were there. As for those from Athens or Jerusalem, neither were mid the mighty captive scene, nor mid the ribald crowd that followed them, nor among those who fled before, fierce and obscene. The mad dance, the wild dance maddens in the van, and those who lead it flee like shadows on the green. Outspeed the chariot, and without repose mix with each other in tempestuous measures to savage music wilder as it grows. They tortured by their agonizing pleasure, convulsed, and on the wild whirlwind spun by that fierce spirit with mischievous pleasure was soothed by mischief since the world began, by that fierce spirit whose unholy pleasure was soothed by mischief since the world began. Throw back their heads and loose their streaming hair, and in their dance around her who dims the sun. Maidens and youth fling their wild arms in air as their feet twinkle. They recede, and now, bending within each other's atmosphere, kindle invisibly. And as they glow like moths by light, attracted and repelled, oft to their bright destruction come and go, till like two clouds within the Pittsburgh Valley impaled, that shake the mountains when their lightnings mingle, and die in rain, the fury band that held their natures snaps. Before the shock could cease to tingle, one falls and yet another in the path, senseless. That you and me, Ed. Nor is the desolation single. Yet, before I can say where the chariot has passed them over, nor other trace I find, but as of foam after the ocean's wrath is spent upon the desert shore. behind. All men and women forwardly disarrayed shake their grey hairs in the insulting wind, limp in the dance with limbs decayed, and strain to reach the car of light which leaves them still further behind and deeper in the shade. But not the less for impotence of will, they wheel, although ghostly shadows interpose round them and round each other, and fulfill their work. Back in the dust from which they rose, sing. Corruption veils them as they lie, and frost becomes the fire once within. Struck to the heart by this sad pageantry, half to myself I said, and what is this, God? Universe. Whose shape is that within the car of life? I should have added, is all this here amiss? When a voice answered, cuckoo. You know the answer, why did you ask? That's life. Oh, I turned on you, oh heaven, have mercy of the wretchedness of my interior dialogue. That which I thought was an old root, which grew to strange distortion out of the hillside, was indeed one of those deluded crew, and that the grass, methought, had hung so wide and white, was his thin discolored hair, and that the holes which he so vainly thought to hide were or had been his eyes. If thou canst forbear to join the dance, said the grim feature with sometimes a French accent, sometimes with a Russian accent, sometimes with Jeremy Bentham's accent. Of my thought aware, I will unfold that which to such great disdain led me and my companions, and relate the progress of the pageant since the morn. If thirst of knowledge would not by then abate, follow it even through the night, though I am weary, like one under the weight of his own words, who staggered. He wearily paused, and before he could resume, I cried, "First, let's pretend I don't know that you are me. So tell me, who art thou?" Oh, ho, 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 ho. Before thy memory, I feared loved, suffered, did, and died. And if the spark with which heaven lit my spirit had been with purer sentiments applied, corruption would not now this much inherit of what once was the great Rousseau, nor this disguise stain that which ought to have disdained to wear it. And if I have been extinguished, yet there rise 1,000 beacons from the spark I bore. Pierce, I think I am such a beacon. Thank you. Okay, and who are those chained to the car? You interior voice, tell me. Oh, they, darling. They are us. A version of us. The great, the wise, the unforgotten. You would say the most successful us. Because they wore mitres and helmets and crowns or wreaths of light. But that, Pierce, you had too. Oh yes, I had the wreaths of light, but not as the thought's empire overthought. You're right. You're broke. Their lore taught them not this: to know themselves. Their might could not repress the mystery within. And for the morn of truth they feigned. Corruption caught them before evening. Oh, here, Pierce, you are wrong, because some of them die very old. So corruption comes very late to them, and in order for them to be successful, they had to ignore the mystery within. You see, there is a trade-off, Pierce, and you knew that. So let's go on. All right, so who is he with chin upon his chest and hands crossed upon his chain? He, oh, he's lovely looking, isn't he? That long hair and the unshaven beard. And that long and beautiful body. Yes, he is the child of a fierce hour. He sought to win the world, the legend goes. And lost all that it did contain of greatness. A lie, absolute lie. But you know that I'm a Christian, Donna. I know, Pierce. But I thought you are an introspective Christian. You cannot believe that there is only Christianity. Maybe you did. Okay, let's move on. Without the opportunity which bore him on the eagle's pinion to the beak from where 1,000 climbers without I was interrupted by my cat sitter. Sorry, Pierce. Pierce. Without the opportunity which bore him on the eagle's pinion to the peak from where 1,000 climbers have before fallen, as Napoleon fell. So Pierce, I think, you saw Napoleon as a Jesus figure, a tragic figure, but heroic. I don't know if we can call Jesus heroic, though. So maybe just tragic. I have to look into how you regarded Napoleon better, Pierce. It's intriguing that you brought him here. Its hopes destroyed and more. Oh, its hopes destroyed and more than fame and peace than virtue self could gain, without the opportunity that bore him on the eagle's pinion to the peak from where 1,000 climbers have before fallen, as Napoleon fell. I felt my cheek alter to see the shadow as it passed away, whose grasp had left them. Oh dear. Oh dear. All right. Where are we? We're going to have fun. Pierce. I felt my cheek alter to see the shadow as it passed away, whose grasp had left the giant world so weak that every pygmy kicked it as it lay. Okay, this is something I don't get, Pierce. So Christianity left the giant world so weak. Now, yes, you're right. You're right. For Europe, yeah, you're right. You're right. But the Arabs came, you know that, and they brought different culture to Spain and things like that. And you know that. 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 Yeah. You went into Aveyron and Avicenne, I guess. That's strange. You are very well educated, Piers. Whatever. Let's move on. And much I suffer to think how power and will in opposition rule our mortal day. And how God made good and the means of good irreconcilable. Now here, Piers, you misread Niccolo Machiavelli like everyone else I know, or most of them. God. Piers, you're a bit more superficial than I thought. Moving. And for despair I have disdained my eye's desire to You may not be able to make it, my dearest. But this is how we learn about life skills. Why on earth? Okay. Breathe. Okay, so and for despair I have disdained my eyes' desire to fill with the spent visions of the times that were and scarce have ceased to be. Dost thou behold? That's a good line. I have to tell this line to myself. Dost thou behold? Corruption, spoiled, Voltaire, Frederick, and Kant. I don't know who Frederick is or what he wrote. Catherine. So Catherine was regarded as a progressive leader. That's interesting. Bentham thought the same about her. History. And Leopold. The hoary anarchs demagogues and wise, whose names the fresh world thinks already old, for in the battle they in life did wage, she remained conqueror. You have a problem with life, Piers. It's very strange. I thought you wiser. Have to read more that you wrote. Let them pass. The world. Oh, no. Before that, I was overcome by my own heart, which neither age, nor tears, nor infamy now, nor tomb could temper to its object. Let them pass, the world and its mysterious doom. It is not that much more glorious than my own desire to worship those who draw new figures on its false and fragile glass as the old faded. Figures ever new rise on the bubble, paint them as you may. We have thrown us, those before us, threw our own names on it as it passed away. Now let's get distracted, looking at how chained to the triumphal chair the mighty phantoms of the elder day, great Plato there. All that is mortal in great Plato there expiates the joy and pain his master knew not. The star that ruled his doom was far to bear, and life, where the flower of heaven long grew not, where long the flower of heaven grew not. Long the flower of heaven grew not. Conquer thy heart by love. Which pain or age or gold or sloth or slavery could temper not. But let's distract ourselves again and see how that pair walks by, the tutor and his pupil, whose dominion follows as tame as a vulture on a chain. The world had darkened under the opinion of him whom from the flock of conquerors fame singled out for her thunder-bearing minion. You're a bit misogynistic there. Whatever, let's move on. Singled out for a thunder-bearing minion. The other long outlived both fruit and both outlive. The other long outlived both woes and wars, and throned over the thoughts of men, and still had kept the jealous key of truth's eternal doors. If Bacon's eagle spirit had not lived out of the darkness, like lightning, he compelled the Proteus shape of nature as it slept to wake and guide him to the cave that kept. The treasure of the secret of its reign. Okay, let's distract us more. See? The bards of an elder time, their music quelled the passion which they sang, and by their strain made them be known. Their living melody tempers its contagion to the vein of those who are infected with it. I have suffered from what I wrote, or vile or pain, and so my seeds, my words have seeds of misery, even if of the deeds of others, not of theirs. Okay, Pierce, now, you're a bit too much, but whatever. Whatever you say, my dear. You are trying to distance yourself from your deeds. We all know that you're pretty much a little fuck. But let's keep going. Deflowering your second wife on her mother's tomb, and abandoning your first wife, so she killed herself. Pierce, your deeds are pretty damning. Don't give me shit. All right, so let's move on. Moving on. And then he pointed to a company amidst whom I quickly recognized the heirs of Caesar's crime, from him to Constantine, the Anarch chiefs, whose force and murderous snare had founded many a scepter-bearing line and spread the plague of gold and blood abroad. And Gregory and John and men divine, whose shadows rise like ghosts between man and God. Till that eclipse still hanging over heaven was worshipped, for the God it quenched, by the whole world over which they strode, for the true God it quenched. Eclipse still hanging over heaven. You have a problem with religion. But religion has nothing to do with faith or spirituality or beliefs or anything. Some priest must have hurt you. Sorry, Pierce. Oh. Was it because of your marriages? I have no idea. Yeah, whatever. Let's move on. So, um, hmm. Mm-hmm. I have, their power was given but to destroy, replied my leader. I have created a world. I'm one of those who have created, even if it be a world of agony. Hmm. If that's so, then let's separate you from me and see this inside voice. Who are you? Where would you go? Why would thy course begin? How would thy course begin and why? I'm sick of this perpetual flow of people. My eyes are sick of this perpetual flow of people, and my heart of one sad thought. Speak. Okay, who am I, Pierce? I hardly seem to know, other than your interior voice, your alter ego. How and by what paths I have been brought to this dread pass, methinks but mostly guess. Why should this be? My mind can compass not. And whether the conquerors hurry me, even less. But now, as I look at this wretchedness, it seems that if I follow thee, I can change from victim to actor, from spectator to actor of victim. Actor of victim. What the heck is this victimization problem? And if that's so, and you could learn, one could learn it, or you could teach me, I sign to learn from thee. Now listen, in this April time, when all the forest tips began to burn with kindling green, touched by the azure clime of the new season, I was laid asleep under a mountain, which from unknown time had yawned into a cavern high and deep, and from it came a gentle rivulet. A gentle rivulet. From it came a gentle rivulet. A gentle rivulet. She made it. Hmm. 6 hours to Portland. Yeah, we have to learn how to drive. F it. I can go and take her and get her. Gentle rivulet, and whose water, whose clear water, and it's whose water like clear air, and its calm sweep bends the soft grass and keeps forever wet the stems of the sweet flowers, and fills the grove with magic sounds, which he who so hears must needs forget all pleasure and all pain, all hate and love they had known before that hour of rest. A sleeping mother would dream not of her only child who died upon the breast at eventide. A king would mourn no more the crown of which his brows were dispossessed when the sun lingered over his ocean's floor to give his rival new prosperity. And thou wouldst soon forget, vainly to deplore ills which, if ills, could find no cure in thee, the thought of which no sleep will cure, nor melody would blot the memory, so sweet and deep is the oblivious spell. And if love had been before this hour of sleep, the heaven I imagine, or the hell of this sick day in which I wake to weep, I know not. I arise, and for a space the shed of woods and waters seems to keep. Though it is broad day now, a gentle light diviner than the common sun sheds on the common earth, and all the place is filled with magic waves and shadows done. And all the place is filled with sounds interwoven into one magic melody of falling leaves and shadows done. And still before me, the sun's image and still before me, omnipresent, and still before me, radiantly intense image, radiantly intense, flowed through the Orient cavern of morning. So before the image of the morning through the Orient cavern flowed, and the sun's image, radiantly intense, burned. And still before me, omnipresence. It escapes me. Still before me, omnipresence of the sunrise through the Orient cavern flowed, and the sun's image, radiantly intense, burned the waters of the well that glowed like gold and filled the forest maze with winding paths of emerald fire. Radiantly intense, and still before me, radiantly intense. The sunrise through the Orient cavern flowed, and the sun's image, radiantly intense, flowed. And still before me the bright omnipresence, oh God, and still before me the bright omnipresence of the sunrise through the Orient cavern flowed, and the sun's image, radiantly intense, burned the waters of the well that glowed like gold and filled the forest maze with emerald with winding paths of emerald fire. There stood, amid the sun as he amid the blaze of his own glory, on the vibrating floor of the fountain paved with flashing rays, a shape all light, which with one hand did fling dew on the earth as if she were the dawn, and the invisible rain did ever sing a silver melody on the mossy lawn. And still before me, on the dusky grass, Iris, her multicolored scarf had drawn. In her right hand she bore a crystal glass, mantling with bright nepenthe. And she moved under the mass of the deep cavern, with palms so tender their tread broke not the mirror of its billow. She glided along the river, and did bend her head till like a willow, under the dark boughs till like a willow. Her fair hair swept the bosom of the stream that whispered with delight to be its pillow. As one enamored is upborne in stream, over silver paved, all over lily paved lakes, mid silver mist, to wondrous music. So this shape did seem partly to tread the waves with feet which kissed the dancing foam, partly to glide along Hello, my love.
What did you mean by your text in the group chat? You were so sad?
That was Zoe at her birthday in 2021.
Yeah.
She looked so sad.
Oh. Okay.
Didn't she?
I guess. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should not have that.
No, you're fine.
So sorry.
I'm in the Portland airport. Have you been to the Portland airport many times or no? Just the once?
Oh, once for you, my love, or twice. To go.
It's very pretty.
It is pretty. I adore you. You are. Do you understand that everything you're doing are life skills, and you're better than me? Do you understand that?
Sure, yeah.
Excellent. That's all. I want you to feel empowered. I love when you call me bro.
Oh, sorry.
No, I adore
So
you.
did,
But I have to apologize to Zori.
oh, no. You don't have to apologize to Zoe. I think she'll think it's funny.
It just looked that you were sad. In 2021. Now, she may not send me any more pictures. Maybe that was just for me. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll survive.
I don't think it's, yeah, I think you'll be good.
Yes, I didn't send it to anybody else but you two. I love you, sweetheart. I can't wait for you to make it here.
Thank you, Yanni.
I adore you.
I can't wait.
So listen. So when you come out in Vancouver, when you go out, you just so you don't exit. You turn a little bit to the left, and you go to people there at the information desk, and you say, "Where is Ride Booker?" And you show them the whatever you have, and they will tell you, "Oh, it's that woman there." It's never there is no sign. You have to ask, but you know how to ask.
Who do I ask?
So you ask if you see a woman who looks like someone in charge, like a kindergarten teacher, anybody who looks like anybody from Rita Gold.
Wait, no, that's not, like, where?
So when you go out, so you keep going, you are going to see that you have to see the passport people, so you keep going by exit. Oh, you have to retrieve your package now, your bag now, correct?
Yeah.
So it may take you a while. So I don't know how long that will take. So it may be that you may miss the first car, but or they may wait for you. I don't know. But when you go out, there is an information desk on your left. So what I'm saying, keep left as you leave. Keep left. So when you are ready to exit and meet people from the airport, there are two doors. One is towards the left that looks as if there is no door, and one is right there in front of you towards right, and everybody goes through the right door. You can go to the left door, and then there is an information center as you come in on your right, or you will see signs there for whatever. So, or you will see a group of people who are around asking for. You can do a face chat with me, FaceTime, and I can show you around.
Okay.
But it's right there as you get out. So you follow left, and then you suddenly look back on your right, and you will see an information center that you can ask. There are information centers, and you say, "Look, I'm going to Whistler, and I have this reservation, Ride Booker. Where shall I go? Who shall I ask?" Does it make sense?
Okay.
It's a bit messy, but you will see it's doable.
Okay.
It just gives you, yes, it just gives you a little bit of anxiety. That's all, but it's doable.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Safe flights.
I know.
I love you. So, back. Partly to glide along. So, partly to glide along the air which roughened the soft amethyst, or the faint shadows of the trees. No, the faint the faint morning beams which fell among the trees, or the soft shadows of the trees. And still her feet danced to the ceaseless song of birds and leaves and winds and waves and bees. And falling drops moved to a measure new yet sweet as a summer evening breeze. Up from the lake, a shape of golden dew. Between two rocks athwart the rising moon dances. Where eagle never flew. And still her feet, no less than the sweet tune to which they moved, seemed as they moved to blot the memory of him who gazed on them, and soon all that it was seemed as if it had been. It hadn't been. And all the gazers' thoughts were strewn like embers under her feet, and she, thought by thought, trampled its spark into the dust of death. Like day upon the threshold of the east, treads out the lamps of night until the breath of darkness re-illumine even the least of heaven's living eyes. Like day she came, making the night a dream, and before she ceased to move, between desire and shame suspended, I said, if, as it doth seem, she came from the realm of no name to the valley of oblivious dream, say who I am and where I go next and why. Pass not along the passing stream. Oh, for Christ, 7 years, rise and quench thy thirst, was her reply. As a shut lily stricken by the wand of dewy's morning vital alchemy, I rose and bending at her sweet command, touched with faint lips the cup she rose, and suddenly my brain became as sand. And where the first wave has more than half erased the mark of deer on shore Labrador, and where the wolf from which they fled amazed has more than leaves visibly his stamp upon the desert shore, until the second wave comes, so on my sight did burst a vision never seen before, and the faint shape wane in the coming light, as veil by veil the silent splendor fell from Lucifer amid the chrysolite of the sunrise before it tinged the mountain tops. And as the presence of the fairest planet, although unseen, is felt by one who hopes their day's paths will end as they began it, in that star smile whose light is like the scent of a jonquil when the summer breezes fan it, or the sweet notes in which his dear lament the Brescian shepherd breathes, or the caress that changed, that turned its dreadful slumber to content. So knew I in that light's severe excess the presence of that shape which moved as I was moving along the wilderness, more quiet, more dimly than a day's appearing dream, the ghost of a forgotten shape of sleep, a light of heaven whose half-extinguished beam in the sick world in which we wake to weep glimmers forever lost, forever sought. So did that shape its obscure tenor keep beside my path, as quiet as a ghost, and underneath, ethereal glory clad. More quiet than a ghost, and as if from some and the new vision and the cold bright car with solemn speed and stunning music crossed the forest, and as if from some from some dread war triumphantly returning, the loud million fiercely extolled the fortune of her star, the vermilion, the green and azure plumes of Iris, and underneath ethereal glory clad the wilderness, and far before her flew tempest of the splendor which forbade shadows to fall from shadows, and in that light the crew seemed like atomies to dance, some on the new embroidery of flowers that did enhance the grassy vesture of the desert played, forgetful of the chariot swift advance. Others stood gazing till within the light of the great mountain its shade left them dim. Others outspeeded it, and like clouds that swim around the high moon in a bright sea of air, but more followed with exulting hymn the chariot and the captives fettered there, and all like bubbles on the eddying flood fell into one track at last and were borne onward, I a multitude was swept. Me, the sweetest flower, delayed not long. Me, not the sorrow nor the solitude. Me, not that falling stream, Lethean song. Me, not the phantom of that early form that moved along its motion, but among the thickest billows of that living storm I plunged and bared my bosom to the climb of that cold light whose air too soon deformed. Before the chariot had begun to climb the opposing steep of that mysterious dell, behold a wonder worthy of the rhyme of him whom from the lowest depth of hell to every paradise and all the glory love led Cyrene, and who returned to tell that all things are transfigured except love. Except love. Ah. For deaf as is a sea that wrath makes hoary, their wall hears not the sweet notes that move the sphere whose light is melody to lovers, a wonder worthy of his rhyme. The crest grew dense with shadows to its inmost covers. The earth was grey with phantoms, and the air was peopled with dim forms. As when there hovers a flock of empire bats before the glare of the tropic light, bringing before evening strange night upon some Indian isle, thus were phantoms diffused around. And some phantoms diffuse around, some shadows before shadows, some had shadows before shadows, yet unlike themselves. Others, like elves, danced in 1,000 unimagined shapes on fair streams and grassy shelves. Others sat chattering like restless apes on vulgar hands and over shoulders slipped. Others made a cradle of ermine capes of kingly mantles. Others, across the tier of pontiffs, sat like vultures. Others played under the crown which girt with empire a baby's or an idiot's brow and made their nest in it. The old anatomists sat hatching their bare broods under the shade of demon wings and laughed from their dead eyes. I thought you had dead eyes until I made you smile. I gave you life, Ed. And I guess you hated me for that. To assume the delegated power, a raid in which those worms did monarchize, who made the earth their eternal. Others more humble, like falcons, sat on the fist of common men, and round their head did soar, or like small gnats and fleas, as thick as mist. on evening marshes, thronged around the brow of lawyers, statesman, priest, or theorist. Others, like discolored flakes of snow, fell on fairest bosoms and sunniest hair, and were melted by the youthful glow which they extinguished, and like tears they were a veil to those from whose faint lids they rained in drops of sorrow. After brief space, from every form the beauty slowly waned, from every firmest limb and fairest face the strength and freshness. Falls like dust and leaves the action and the shape without the grace of life. The marble brow of youth was cleft with care, and in those eyes where hope once shone, desire like a lioness bereft of her. Last cap glared before it died. Each one of that great crowd sent forth incessantly shadows of shadows, numerous as the dead leaves blown in autumn evenings from a poplar tree. Each like themselves and like each other were at first, but some seemed distorted like obscured clouds, molded by the casual air, and from that stuff the car's creative ray wrapped all the busy phantoms that were there, as the sun shapes the clouds. And on the way mask after mask fell from the countenance and form of all, and long before the day was all, the joy which wakened the sleepers in the oblivious valley died, and some grew weary of the ghastly dance and fell as I have fallen by the wayside. Those soonest from whose forms most shadows passed, and list of strength and beauty did abide. So what is life, I asked. Oh, Pierce, a catcher in the rye. Okay, the shortest day of 2024, and my rendition of the triumph of life. I love you, Zuzu and Izzy, Mom.